Hello and welcome back to my art channel. So today I wanted to show you guys a really easy way to make a cute little piece of coffee artwork that is made with coffee. So let's get to it. So to make this, you probably want to get some supplies. So I have watercolor paper here, and you want to have some brushes so then you're actually able to put it on to the paper. Next thing you want are either a Sharpie or an artist pen. I mostly use artist pen. Some paper towel, tape, and of course, coffee. And I'm going to show you guys how I make it. So let's get to it. First off, it doesn't really matter if it's hot or warm. I get it just like room temperature, and don't fill it up all the way, just halfway. So I use instant coffee so then I can add a lot and make it really strong so I'm able to get some really dark values into my painting that I'll be doing. And it should be about that color. It's okay, don't taste it, it's nasty. Alright, so starting out, you're going to want to tape down your piece of paper, either to your table, like I am doing, a piece of cardboard, piece of wood, literally anything works. Also, I didn't mention, you want to get some water and some coffee grounds. You want to get some coffee grounds because it's going to add a lot of cool texture to the end of what I'm going to add. Alright, so starting off here, I'm going to start off with a really light sketch. And it's going to be a really simple coffee cup. I'm sorry you can't really see it that much. It's very faint. You want to remember that when you're doing this kind of thing that you don't want the pencil marks to be seen. So that's why it's really light. Then I just add a little handle on the side. Really adorable. And then I decided I wanted to add some really cute coffee artwork, like coffee artwork on the top of the mug. I'm confusing myself, like little hearts on the top. You know what I mean. You can faintly see it here. Sorry, you guys can't really see it. Alright, to start off, we're going to start off with something really simple. You're going to get some just water, and we're going to make the steam that's coming off of the coffee mug. And you're just going to like spur around, you know, like it's coming out of the coffee cup. Really simple. Just water. And as you can see, I just had leftover coffee on that. And then you're going to slowly add it at the bottom and let it spread out on its own. And it's going to be really weird because, you know, it doesn't look that great at first, but trust me, at the end, it's going to look amazing. Like, just have fun with this part, let it go everywhere, and the more, like, you let it go everywhere, it's going to look more like steam in a way, because you know what steam looks like. It looks like little fluffy clouds going into the sky. Alright, so next I started laying out my shadows and where I wanted the darks to be, so I lined the bottom of the mug. Then I did the back of the handle. I'm not really sure if you can tell because you want to still have a little space like of the inside of the handle to be lighter color, but I wanted my shadow to be going that way because it's so much easier to do it that way. And after the bottom dried, I added another layer because I didn't like how light it was and I wanted to make sure that it was a shadow. And then next I started to layer on more of a darker shade for the back of the coffee mug because of course that's going to be shaded too more. And then I just added water to this part so that it can have a lighter, but still, you know, have some value to it. But don't go all the way to the edge because we're gonna add something really cool at the end. Alright, so next I started outlining the rim of where the coffee was meeting the cup. This is really important because it's going to look like the coffee's actually in the cup. So just go for it. Don't be afraid. It's just coffee. Simple coffee. Alright, so next I started to outline my little design of the heart on the inside of the cup. And here I just only used coffee. I didn't use any like water combination or anything, just the coffee that was in my cup. Alright, so after making sure that the steam was finally dry, I wanted to go back in and make some different parts darker so then it could be more cooler. I added a lot to like near where the cup was at because most of the time that's where you see the steam from the cup is the bottom of it, so. And you could add a little bit at the top like I'm doing because then you're gonna have a lot more fun at the end and you'll see what I mean. You're gonna make lines with the markers or the pens, whatever they're called. You know what I mean. Alright, so since everything was basically wet at the moment and I couldn't really add anything else, I started erasing a lot of my lines for where my lighter parts are going to be. And be careful with it because if you smudge into the coffee part that's wet, you're gonna have a little bit of a mess. And if you do, that's fine, just take your paper towel and dab it. So since everything is wet right now, I decided I was gonna just step back and give it a couple minutes to dry. It took about maybe 5 minutes or so, and then I came back to it because whenever I try to make something better while it's still trying, you know, when it's still wet, you can't do anything with it. It just doesn't turn out good and it turns into a disaster. So just leave it alone. Like, leave it. It needs its alone time. So after letting everything dry, I started to just add like a tint of the coffee right on the top of the coffee line to show like the coffee was there. Just a little bit of a tint. It's okay if it starts to blend in with your design on the top. That's normal. So next, I started to just very lightly outline the the part of the mug that was closest to the light source and then the rim. Alright, so this is one of the most important parts. So I started adding a lot more coffee to my darker shaded areas. this is the best part of making coffee artwork with coffee, is adding coffee grounds. Now, since that one area near the bottom of the cup is already wet, which is a good thing, you're going to put your coffee grounds on top of it, sprinkle it on just to the area where you want. And then you're going to add more water on top of those coffee grounds so that they will stick onto the paper. Literally, this is like glue. It makes it stay on the paper afterwards. And it's okay if the grounds get a little bit over your paper, you're gonna just brush it off once everything is dried. Alright, so since that is drying, do not touch it, leave it alone. We're going to start outlining the smoke from our coffee mug. So I really like to use the artist pen because it's not going to smell like Sharpie, but it's okay if you have Sharpie, that works too. But so near the lighter areas of the clouds, I really like to go very light, and I don't like to go exactly on the line of the coffee mark that I made. I like to go either on the inside of it or on the outside. I like to draw the little circles and outline it because it just gives it more character. And then, as you can see, as I make my way closer to the coffee cup where it's a little bit darker, I use a darker line so that it can be more defined. And it adds more variety to your line weight. So after I was done with the steam, I started and I outlined the entire heart design and added little bitty lines to make it more defined. And I also outlined the rim of the cup, just the back of it, because I'm probably going to add a lighter line on near the light source to make it a little bit more dramatic and drastic. Next, I started to add a little bitty dots with the coffee because coffee has bubbles in it and it was really fun to make. So next, I got my really tiny pen and gradually outlined the rim of it. See how it looks so much different than the more harsh line that I used on the rim? So it's going to give it more depth. And then most of the time I always outline the different shadows and values that I make. And so I left that because I needed to wait for it to dry for the shadows. So I stepped back for maybe a good 10 to 20 minutes because you want to make sure that the coffee grounds are completely dry. So finally, before it's complete, I started adding all of my lines. I like to add these little lines for where the shadows are, only where the shadows are. I don't really like to add it to where the lights are because then the whole thing will look the same. And that's just my style for this personally. Next, I added the final line that is going around the shadow on the ground by all the coffee grounds. And then you can either put a dot in the middle of the bubbles or you can circle them. Either or, it's gonna look good. It's gonna look good either way. So I did a little bit of variety of both. So after that, of course, sign your name because you did it. You made this. And take all of the tape off. It's alright if you rip some paper, that's usually normal. I just tend to not rip it fast, but just, do it the opposite way. Alright, well that is the final result. It's super cute and I hope you guys had fun making this, and I mean it smells good and looks good. Hang it up on your wall. Put it on a piece of board. What is it called? I don't know. But anyways, thank you guys for watching so much. Share, comment, and subscribe if you haven't. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!